call this meeting to order. If we can stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get started, I just wanted to hand out a couple of policies regarding the organization of the board. And so I just wanted to make sure that I had one for everyone here, so if I can just give you that. And so I just wanted to read a little bit of something before I open it up for nominations. So what it says is the board shall organize annually at its first meeting following the district's elections, and as we all know, we just had our elections recently. Every member shall be notified of the meeting for organization in accordance with RSA 91A2. This meeting shall be called to order by the superintendent, who shall proceed during and until the election of a chairperson. The election of a chairperson should be based on qualifications for the position. Other methods, such as rotations, should be discouraged. So I just wanted to make sure the public was aware of what we were doing and that it is one of our school board policies. The other two policies that you have before you, I'm not gonna go over them, but it's just, it's BCA, which is school board member ethics. And then the other one is BBAA and board member authority. So I always like to make sure that we have those at the beginning of when we start our new chapter here. And so I'm gonna open it up now for nominations for chairman.
I make a motion to nominate Bob Willett for chair.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
I think if you're talking about not just rotation or for following down the same path, Bob has been the longest standing member board person that we've had. How many years have you done now?
This is 15.
15 years, so I think that should speak for itself.
Okay, I will take a vote, and I can just do that. If you're in favor, say aye. If not, you wait, or you can abstain, whichever you choose to. So all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
Right.
Do, aye,
No, well, whatever. I was gonna
abstain?
abstain for it.
Okay, so it's 2-2, so the motion would not pass. Right, is there another motion for,
I'd like to nominate myself as board chair.
is there a second?
I will second it.
Okay, discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll call that vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye.
Alright, so we have 3-2, so you will be the new chair. So if I could please give you the role and responsibilities of the board chair, and then you now get to take over.
At this time, I'd like to nominate Heather Wilkowskis as vice chair.
I guess the discussion would be that, I'm just really sad that you guys all converse about that, change things. I don't think we went down a good path for the past couple of years, and Robert remaining as chair, and then you taking the vice chair. I'm just very disappointed that, that it was tossed out there, that it was told that the whole SAU office was going to quit, and that Robert was gonna quit if I was chair. But then you guys can all have this conversation to switch it up instead of doing what I believe is right for the board and having Bob Willett as chair.
And the staff said they were gonna quit too.
Yeah, but apparently we don't worry
It's
about
just crazy amount of
teachers,
stuff
we
this
just
year.
worry about SAU and Robert, so. It's good.
Who seconded Heather being chair? I mean,
Heather
vice?
did.
I did.
You did?
And I will just say, I would like to continue down. We've been on a good path, I think, this year, with organizational changes and continuing
So now that we voted for the chair for me, chair for Robert, I know that Sandrea was willing to be the chair also, so I'd like to make a motion to have Sandrea chair.
Well, I think that's already been,
I'm making a new motion.
It's
Yeah.
Well, I
it's
think
already
we-
passed. It was a
Pass for
three to two.
him,
Right, three to two, so
but you can change the chair.
At any point in time, someone can motion for a new chair.
that's fine.
do we have to close this, I mean, we've got a first and a second on Bryce.
Yeah, you have to have a vote on it. Well, you've already had a vote on it, 3 to 2.
On the
Well, no,
vice,
for
no.
advice.
Oh, on the vice, sorry, yeah.
Right.
Oh, so
So,
you're doing that,
all,
that's right.
all in favor for Heather as vice chair? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Take it over.
All right, so that's it?
Mhm.
Okay. So at this time, we'll move on with our normal agenda. Let's see. And I think before we get started, well, yeah, we have, before we get started on the agenda review, we do have, the committees that we need to put together as well. And so Donna has put in our packet, the committees that board members, traditionally are a part of, with a table of, you know, dates and times and things like that. So we're not, I believe we weren't gonna decide that this evening.
Yeah, I would ask the board if that's something that we could vote on, have on the agenda for the next meeting, so that way, everybody has the opportunity to look at what the, descriptions are for those, and then at our next meeting, vote on which committee they wanna be on.
Are we missing any at all? This seems like a short list.
So according to,
Yeah, go ahead.
So according to our policy, the policy says that we need to have facilities, a policy, transportation, negotiations, and then there's one that says others deemed necessary by the board. And so when I looked at the ones that I thought that was deemed necessary by the board, right, is, because then this board would then make a decision if there's any that are deemed necessary. So when I looked at some of the ones that I know that you guys are a big part of, like the budget committee and the CIP. So I knew that those were two, so that's why I added them to this. The other one that some of the boards sat on, in some cases, were actually, district committees, not board committees. So these ones here are per policy, district committees, board committees, sorry.
With that said, are there any other committees, Bobby, or Sandra, that you feel, or Heather, that you feel like you should be a part of? We've been part of technology, we've had wellness, I mean, you know, in the past.
That's the one, thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning.
Well,
Wellness, I thought,
So I did ask Will about that because in the policy, and I brought the policy tonight too, it says, you know, that they would like to have these certain people on. And so I asked Will, is that something that a board member has to sit on? And they said, no, only if a board member wants to. So they said that isn't one. If you guys want, this is the policy that I'm referring to, BDE, I don't know if anybody wants a copy of that, I did bring that as well, that shows the policies.
Anybody have any questions?
nope, I think actually putting this off helps Ann out a little bit to see which one she might wanna go on.
I don't think we need transportation anymore, I thought that was, once they took it out of our hands.
Yeah, I thought we decided not to do
Well, I
that.
think it was tabled and not to remove it, and then I
Yeah.
think that maybe we need to have another transportation committee meeting in order to say we don't need this meeting anymore.
Yeah, and
I
I thought,
thought we did that.
yeah, I just know that Sandra, you especially wanted to kind of continue it.
Well,
Just
yeah,
to-
because I thought there was a chance we could have our own transportation department since we spent all that money on that for parking lots and buses and such, but that didn't come to fruition either, so.
Okay, that's great, so we can move on now, so let's go to agenda review. Does anybody have anything they would like to change or add or anything like that? Okay. All right, it is.
I just have a non-public at the end.
Okay, yep,
Yes.
yes. I believe we have one of those.
So it's C's on it, okay.
All right, it is 5:40, we can go, open it up to, public comment. Anybody with public comment? Okay, excellent. All right, so let's move on to reports. The first is the facilities report. Michelle, you wanna just kind of recap, or would you like me to? Okay. So, we had our facilities committee meeting, before this today, and, there were two items, Brad's out sick, so, we covered off, HVAC units in the SAU need to be replaced, so we're gonna have a public hearing for that this evening. Basically, they've both failed, they cannot be repaired, at this point, so we're gonna, open up a public hearing so that project can get funded. And then, secondly, we had, the Get the Lead Out Initiative, program, and we have received our certificate, which Donna has posted on our website and Facebook, you said too.
Yes.
So, I know that's been a work in progress, so that's great that was able to get done. That's all we have for facilities this evening. It was a pretty light agenda, so. Anybody have any questions about that? No? Finance report is next.
So. So this is after the fixes. I'll get into the Tyler Tech updates later on in new business. But, we fixed everything with our new trainer. So our budget balance is $614,117.43.
Can you repeat that, I'm sorry?
614,117.43.
Thank you.
Everything's been encumbered.
Any questions on this? Okay, let's move on to, student services report. Carol, how are you?
Yep, good, thank you. Everyone should have my report in your packet, and you good? Okay, perfect. So, special education enrollment numbers as of the month of March, 81 students are on IEPs at the Paul School, 31 students are on IEPs at Spalding High. We have 2 students on IEPs at Bud Carlson Academy High School, 8 students at Kingswood Regional High School, 2 students at Tufton Borough Central School on IEPs. We have a new school added, which I'll explain in a few minutes. Northeast Woodland Charter School, we have 1 student on an IEP there. Another new school added, which I'll explain in a few minutes, is called the Temporary Preschool Transition School, 1 student there. Actually 2, we picked up 1 yesterday, but this report was submitted to you last week. And we have 7 students in special education specialized out-of-district schools. Regarding primary disabilities, 20 of these students have a primary disability of autism, 8 have a primary disability of developmental delay. That goes until a student turns 10, then we do specialized testing to determine a more specific primary disability. 5 students are categorized with an emotional disability. 3 students have an intellectual disability. 40 students have OHI or other health impairment. The majority of those are students with ADHD. 35 students have a specific learning disability in either reading or math. 16 students have a speech and language impairment disability, which is a communication disability. And 6 students are in the process of being evaluated. So once that happens, the numbers will change once the meeting occurs to determine their primary disability. Currently, we have 30 students at the Paul School on 504 accommodation plans. The Paul School special education compliance as of last night is 97%. As I've stated before, Department of Ed would love 100%, but they're happy with 95% or higher because meetings have to be rescheduled, etc. We did pick up 2 new schools for students who live in Wakefield. that are on IEPs or that are going on IEPs, and I'll explain the difference. We have a student who lives in Wakefield who attends the Northeast Woodland Charter School in Conway. Charter schools are considered public schools, so we are responsible if any of those students qualify for special ed services for providing that. So we have one new student there. The Department of Ed has created a school for the state that is called the Temporary Preschool Transition School, or TPTS, in our special education database, which is called Nessus, which is a brilliant idea, and I'll explain why in a second. We didn't have this special school for the state last school year, so when an early intervention outside agency determines that a student who is 2 years old is developmentally delayed and should be referred for special education evaluations. Last year, they would be referred to me directly, and then we would go through the process, evaluate the student, and if the student was found eligible for an IEP, that would kick in on the student's 3rd birthday, and these are just kids who live in Wakefield but may attend, an EI agency elsewhere, early intervention agency. And then once the student turns 3, he or she is eligible for special education services and eligible to attend our preschool. This is much better that we have this temporary school in our database so we can keep track officially as to who of those students are. And then I flip them to the Paul School once they turn 3 on their birthday. So that's actually a brilliant idea on New Hampshire Department of Ed's part. And that's all I have for updates, unless you have any questions.
I just had a quick question, like,
Sure.
when we have something like a new Northeast Woodland Charter School, is that a parent decision, or how do you?
It could be either or.
Okay,
So whoever makes the referral, so it could be
Okay.
the school making the referral, it could be the parent making the referral. For this specific case, the school reached out to me on behalf of the parent.
oh, okay,
So that triggered me to contact the parent.
excellent, perfect,
And I checked proof of residency.
yeah. That's great, thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? And before we move on, I just probably real quick wanted to, welcome Ann Gehring as our new school board member. Congratulations for being a member, and appreciate your time. So, yeah, this is gonna be great. Should have done that at the beginning, so I apologize. Next, we can move on to the principal report.
You all have my report in your packet, and again, this was written over a month ago at this point, so it speaks mostly to February. February is a very busy, productive month at the Paul School, with students and staff continuing to engage in meaningful learning experiences, both inside and outside of the classroom. Classrooms were focused, students have demonstrated continued growth academically and socially as we move through the winter season. Our Character Strong theme last month was honesty. Throughout the month, students explored what it means to be truthful with themselves and with others, taking responsibilities for their actions, and building trust within classrooms and relationships. Honesty connects closely to reflection, accountability, and growth, and has been encouraging to see students engage in conversations and activities that reinforce these important life skills. Our 4th grade students had their wax museum projects. We welcomed the families into the building to share their work. The event showcased students' academic learning, but also creativity, research skills, and confidence. We appreciate the support of the families who were able to attend. Our boys and girls basketball teams wrapped up their seasons. We're very proud of them. They showed dedication, teamwork, and sportsmanship. These experiences helped students build important skills that extend beyond the court. Teachers participated in another round of data meetings last month. These meetings provide valuable opportunities for staff to review student progress and collaborate on instructional strategies. Students enjoyed Valentine's Day with their classmates, providing an opportunity to strengthen friendship and build positive classroom communities. Looking ahead, we are excited for the start of spring sports, which have begun. With baseball and softball, they began this month. We are also looking forward to upcoming staff versus students basketball game on March 26th and 27th. Overall, February was a positive month filled with opportunities for learning, reflection, and community building, and we look forward to carrying this momentum further into the spring months ahead.
Thank you, Melissa. Anybody have any questions? Comments, anything? No? Okay. Next, we will get on to the enrollment. Holding steady.
It looks like it's holding steady. The only thing that, you'll notice that there was a little bit of fluctuation in fourth grade. We went up one student, but then you look, in seventh grade, we went down one student. So, but we're holding steady there. And in Spalding, in our high school, we went up 2 students. And then Bud Carlson went down 1.
Any questions about enrollment? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah, so we're about 100 students down from about last year, this time, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
further out, but that's a huge difference. Where did 100 students go?
Yeah,
So-
I don't have the exact numbers for last
Yeah,
year,
we were
what
up
it
to
was. I can look.
512 at one point. We were looking for classrooms to put them.
Yeah, it was 22, 23, we were up over 500.
What
Yeah.
size was the 8th grade class that left?
They were about the same as this, it was like 47 or so.
Yeah.
So like
'Cause
they
it-
left and then the new class that came in, the kindergarten is half the size, so there's like 25 kids right
I
there.
was just wondering
Yeah.
if there
Yeah.
more people being homeschooled or what the.
There's some kids that are homeschooled, most of it is people moving away, cause we don't offer a lot of housing around here, but like people definitely are homeschooling. We don't have a percentage on it. I think we actually talked about this before, that like they
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to tell us when they're homeschooling, so like if somebody who homeschools at Summersworth moves to Wakefield, they don't like report to us that they're homeschooling. If we have kids that are here and then like unenrolled, and then we are aware of the fact that they have gone to homeschool.
Yeah,
I think the last time we knew it was 70-something that was homeschooled, and we used to have 7.
yeah.
That's right. I
Yeah.
think those numbers are, yeah, if I remember,
Wow.
it was like 75 or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so next let's get on to presentations and public hearings, and that's what we have tonight. We do have a public hearing to withdraw funds from the HVAC Air Handling Unit Replacement Trust Fund. So at this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Michelle, would you mind giving a little bit of a
Sure. So
recap?
the HVAC units and both modulars are at end of life. Not the SAU, but the other modular has been without heat for almost 2 months. The SAU, half of it has been without heat for a month. We've been on space heaters on cold days. And the other modular hasn't had any heat at all. They haven't even put a space heater in there. And Pioneer is our contracted HVAC vendor, so they have been putting in a lot of time trying to get us heat and money and looking for parts, because they're 30 years old and have actually said it's time for new ones. It's costing way too much to fix it and to find parts. The guy that was in the SAU the last time, he had to drive 3 hours to go find a part and get us, and then it didn't even work, so it didn't even help. It ran for a couple hours and then stopped. So, they were able to get a deal because they found some that were in backstock and, saved some money. Both units will cost $19,000 and,
Each?
nope, 9,500 each.
Okay.
So it'll be a total of 19,000, and that's installing them. And I think that, if I remember right, Brad said it was a 6-week delivery time from time of order. So, once they came in, Dave will install them, and will install them. And that's the AC too, cause it's both heat and AC.
So,
Does the board have to waive the bidding process, seeing you're not sending this out to bid?
They're our contract.
We're contracted with them for 3 years, so we don't have to.
Oh, okay,
So we wouldn't go to bid, because we're contracted with this vendor
okay.
for our HVAC.
And we haven't had any freeze-ups at all, anywhere?
Nope.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, if you're talking back to January, okay.
Well, the other modular did have something happen. But he had to get up on the roof and do something, have
Oh, he was worried about ice dams.
ice dams or
Yeah.
something, but he did put space heaters in that.
Mhm.
But the sun's getting warmer because of the time change going forward, so, but,
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or anything like that? Okay. So we can close the public hearing, and can I get a motion?
and this would come out of the HVAC trust fund,
And how much is in that, do you know?
300,000. That's the one that has a lot. 300,000 and some change. So,
I make a motion to withdraw the $19,000 from the HVAC trust fund.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Okay. We got 5-0.
Definitely.
All right, perfect. Next, let's move on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda, please?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Maybe a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, let's move on to meeting minutes. We have the non-public minutes of 2/17/26. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the Wakefield School Board non-public minutes from 2/17/2026.
Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the school board public minutes of 2/17/26.
Is Ann going to vote on that?
Oh,
And then
I'm
we-
sorry.
I didn't know if I did, because I wasn't.
Yeah.
You probably should
You
abstain.
can abstain.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I
So-
just went right over that, I apologize. Yes, we'll move on to the public minutes of 2/17.
Make a motion to approve the Wakefield School Board public minutes of 2/17/2026 with any amendments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I watched it.
Alright, so now we get on to old business. And first on the list, we have the superintendent evaluation, so, go ahead, Heather.
So we've spoken about this a lot, and we seem to get bogged down, and we had adopted, I think it was in December, we adopted a CBI F1, a form that we sort of put in there as a placeholder. But as we've all looked at the form, I think the majority of us don't feel as if it's a user-friendly form for the board to fill out. So we're left with that on our books. And I think we have two things we need to talk about, which is our permanent superintendent evaluation process, and getting something in place that we can use year after year after year after year. And that is sort of a complex task. And then we also have the second part of what we're gonna do this year, because we didn't have a process in place. So my suggestion is we go through the policy committee and have the policy committee draft documents to percolate up to us. And when I think about it, what we would need is a CBIR, which is kind of the regulation part that sets out what we're gonna do, a CBIR2, which is the timeline of what has to happen at each date. Superintendent goal-setting form, because that's how you usually start your process every year. A superintendent self-evaluation form to then be done towards when we're gearing up to do our evaluation forms. then an evaluation form for us to do, and then lastly, a composite evaluation, which is the one that takes all of our reviews, puts it together, and then is the one that the board chair speaks to Donna about. So that's the process to get in place for next year, and then we still have the question of how we're gonna do it this year, because we missed the whole goal setting and that piece.
So, we filled the ones out, I filled the ones out, I have Mary's, actually, she filled it out. So I thought that's what we were gonna just do this year, so we could have a evaluation. Even if it's something that, I mean, we struggle with the evaluation for years and years and years. I believe we were talking last year, the year before, maybe before that, that we were gonna sit down as a board and come up with our own questions for that, because it is hard to fill out when you don't know certain things to do with that. I think it's a board's evaluation for a superintendent. It has nothing really to do with the policies at all. So I still think we should have a board get together and figure out how we wanna do it. It doesn't have to be as long either. I mean, we can use the headings of the ones that, you know, that you sent out, and then put our own little things into that. But, you know, some of the questions of, you know, how does the superintendent get along with something? You know, if we don't, you know, it's hard for us to make an answer to that if we don't know. So you kinda write something down that might sound right, you know, it's crazy, so that's just my opinion if we wanna do it that way, but I think it's a board evaluation.
Sandra?
Yeah, I agree. I think we already talked about this before when Heather first got onto the board, and Priscilla probably has it in the notes somewhere that we had talked about, I think, using that first one that you had for now, and then developing our own for the next year, because we would just do a partial one for now, and it just keeps getting sloughed off to the back. And the other thing was, I think we said it would be the whole board, not just the chair, meeting with the superintendent, so that way the whole board's aware.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I didn't mean that we would not all meet with the superintendent eventually, but I think it's traditional that the chair will present it to the superintendent to give the superintendent time to look at it and take it in before they meet with the entire board. I didn't mean that the entire board would never meet with the superintendent about the evaluation.
Yeah, because collectively as a board, you know, we collectively have responsibility, so. And I also professionally, I feel that it's unfair to evaluate somebody that hasn't had goals set. And what do you evaluate, regardless if it's a superintendent or it's anybody else, there needs to be transparency and a system in place so you know what you're being evaluated against. You know, it's pretty transparent what the expectation is. And it's also important that for the board to be able to have an evaluation that they can do. You know, I get, like Bob and Sandrea and Mary, the previous board, we used this previous form. With our last superintendent, regardless of where that went, I couldn't fill it out.
It's hard to
Because
do.
I couldn't, in good conscience, put an answer to something that was secondary information and not factual. So I think we should put together a workshop and you know, finalize it.
When, because we keep talking in circles, we did this when Heather was first on the board, so when do you want the workshop?
So you wanna pick out, we could do one of our next board meetings? Maybe not, we could, I don't know what our schedule's like on the 31st. Not me.
I am actually out of town on the 31st.
Sorry, the 7th.
Oh, the 7th.
So
I
we could do it on the 7th.
may or may not be here. I have to take my
Okay.
mother for
And I may
surgery
or
in
may not be
Boston.
here.
Oh, because yeah. So,
Sorry.
no, that's fine.
The second meeting?
Yeah, which is the 21st.
Should we have it at a regular school board meeting though? 'Cause that's gonna take
No.
some time to do.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, it should be a workshop. So, the 21st, we could just, instead of having a regularly scheduled board meeting on the 21st, we could if we could have an agenda where if we have something we have to handle, great, we'll handle it, but we can have that time to iron it out.
Okay,
Does that work for you? Sandra, does that work for your schedule?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm already scheduled for school board, so yeah.
Heather?
I don't know what the rest of the board thinks about this. I was hoping that maybe we could ask Donna to present to us at some point, whether that's May, June, the things you did set out to do this year. Because you obviously had a list of things that you were going to do, and just report to us at least on that. We didn't do the joint goal setting, but at least
Yep.
get a feel for everything that's been happening this year.
And I think if we do that in April, it gives us some time to go through that process, so for the next year, we're up and running. So, that would be great. Okay, so we're scheduled, and we'll do our best. All right, so next under old business, we have the health insurance update.
Staff has already been communicated about the health insurance update, so just so you know. So when the school care issue happened, the 38.5% increase, 28.5%. So 28.5% or 38.5%? 28.5%. Increase. I solicited Health Trust, and I think they were inundated with every other school district, so they wouldn't give quotes for July 1st until April 15th. So obviously that is too late because you have to sign with school care by February 1st, or you don't have coverage July 1st. So then we had a broker that we were also working with that was going out to other insurance companies to see if we could get better rates. And we provided 2 years of claims, which as the district, we do not have very good claims records. So Aetna came back with a 43% increase. So obviously, we're gonna stay with school care at 38.5, because 43% is higher. The other insurance companies, Harvard Pilgrim, United Healthcare, Cigna without school care on its own, and Aetna refused to quote. So when this is before February, this is in January, they're refusing to quote, you have to go with school care. So we signed with school care for 7/1. We may get rid of one bad year, but we still have another bad year. So, depending on what our claims look at for this year, maybe we try again next year to see what we can get, or we'll try with Health Trust. But, Health Trust could be in the same situation for assessment, because there's a new House bill going through for the assessments. So, we have to just play it by ear. So we are staying with school care for July 1st, so there'll be no change in our budget for health insurance.
I just wanna add, when Michelle said that, the district didn't have very good, records, it does, she means claims, right? So it's not that we're keeping the records and they weren't very good, it was the amount of claims that we
Claims.
had. So we had a lot of claims through the insurance company, that's what drove our insurance rates to
That's
go
why I
up.
asked, is it driving it up?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, can't fault, people for being sick or anything, it happens. So, that's everywhere right now, so, we'll play by ear next year. We'll see if Health Trust will quote us before April 15th and see what happens, and we can reach back out to this broker and see what type of claims we'll have for this year. But we're well over 100%, so can't go in asking for, no less when they come, 43%. So, their yearly was $19,210, and, school care's highest is $17,262, so. I'll stay with that. So the unions were notified us, we spoke, Annette and I spoke with them first, and then, we communicated to all the employees that we were staying with school care.
Okay. Any questions, comments? No? Thank you, Michelle, for the update. And then lastly, under old business, we have Tyler Tech update.
Yeah, so, we met with our new trainer, Annette and I, and we didn't think we were gonna do it, but we, were able to correct all the payrolls in one day and encumber everything through June of '26. Get everybody in the right buckets without impacting any of their paychecks, because the setup was wrong when we converted, so we had to move a lot of people. They didn't notice, but it was very time consuming, and we had to make sure that everybody's paychecks were, not impacted. So we're in the test environment and production, making sure that, everybody was going to be correct when we ran payroll. We did it on a Thursday, and we were running payroll that following day. So, it was time consuming, and we were holding our breath when we ran payroll to make sure we got the exact number that we had in test, and, everything's encumbered in the right spots. And we're going to have this trainer when we roll over into the new year. So Annette and I are very thankful that we had her, and, we feel confident going into the new year for fiscal year '27. So the only thing I don't know how to do is roll over a budget, so we're gonna work with her and learn that, so this will be good. But, yeah, we're confident with, the encumbrance for payroll now, so.
So since you have your trainer and is more for the Tyler Tech, are we getting the time card system done now?
That is, it's not, their system isn't in our contract. So there's a different system that we can get that goes with it. And, we'll have, Annette has used it in Milton, and a lot of SAUs use it. So I don't remember the name of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I thought when previous BA that we were told that.
Is it Frontline? Yeah, it's Frontline, it is part of it. It works with School ERP Pro.
Right, but when the previous BA was here, we brought up the time cards again, and we were told it's gonna be in the new system. And so when we got the training done, that we would have the time cards. But now you're saying it's not in the system.
Not right yet.
So do we need to make a motion to approve it, to get the time cards going? We've been wanting some kind of system for time cards for a while now.
I thought we approved that a
Yeah, I
long time
thought
ago.
we did. But we were told it was gonna be in this and you weren't trained yet, so now it's not in this.
We have to roll it in and get the software for it.
Is it already budgeted to purchase it?
Sue Ellen knows that we wanna do it, and it would be in January, so we wouldn't be able to do it till January of '27. Cause we wouldn't wanna do it like in, July. It would have to be
So you
January.
do it in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Let us gather some more information
Yeah,
on that,
we'll
to be
talk.
able to bring it forward to
Yeah,
find out, because
'cause I'll find
time
out.
card, doing the time card system would make everybody's life very,
Right,
very,
very easy.
yeah,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of back and forth.
We have asked for
between
one for years,
Yeah.
so this has been something that's been, we've wanted. So I don't know what the cost impact is also, so if we can get that information, 'cause
Yeah,
that's gonna be.
so why don't we
another-
bring that at the next meeting, so that way we have more information.
Yeah. that would
I'll
be
reach
good.
out to her, and it's like the next step.
Mhm.
Maybe we could have it done by September. We did it this summer.
It'd be good to have it, so
Yeah.
that way when people come in, that could be a training they could come in and
obviously.
Michelle, we can test it during summer school if
Yeah, we
you
can.
want,
True.
if you need a test, small group.
Anything else on the entire tech, any questions, comments other than that? Okay. All right, let's move on to new business. Under the first, we have town payment.
So it's actually been really good.
Excellent.
As you can see, we're getting the money the beginning of every month, so January was the 8th, February was the 3rd, and March was the 5th.
Awesome.
So it's been great. Dino and I now monthly meetings, so I met with him last week. So that way we can kind of talk about things that we'd like to see going in place and what the town's doing, what the school's doing, to see if we can work together a little bit more. I had just talked to him about the possibility of us doing more together, like maybe having a joint meeting where, as the school board and the select board can get together and we can talk about things that are going on between the town and the school, and just getting more of things such as that. We talked about, next year budgeting, how when they're doing their meetings about talking about the budget, that I'd like to be part of that, to sit down and have conversations about the school budget when they do it on TV. So I'd like to be part of that, so we talked about that. And then we talked about potentially maybe doing a joint report, we have the books, the annual reports, maybe doing one together as a town and school. So that way we're saving costs to the people, and it's one book versus two books. So we've been throwing a lot of things around about what we can do together as a team and how we can save money for the community.
I think that's great, because there has been a history of like such a large, disconnect. It's like the town's over here and the school's way over here. And especially coming to budget season, I know we always struggle with like trying to explain, and then we have a budget committee that's not really well educated on the needs of the school throughout the year, so we're trying to like educate the budget committee as we're trying to present the budget, and to have that collaboration throughout the year would really make it a lot easier. And I think that then if we get the select board that can also understand what's going on at the school, that helps the
Yeah.
process for
I
sure.
talked to them about having, if any of the select board members want to tour the school, that we would, be happy
Yeah,
to walk them around the school and see everything that we do here and what we're looking to do.
if you're an elected official in this town, you really should know about, the school's such a key part, that it should be, well educated on what's going on here, for sure.
At least the school board rep,
Yeah,
one of the selectmen, I think it might be Mark Duffy,
yeah,
at least they should be educated on it anyways.
without a doubt,
Mhm.
so that's great. Okay, technology, sorry, Michelle.
On the town payment,
Yep.
I'm supposed to get that in writing, we talked about that. You haven't seen the email yet. I spoke with Michelle today when I went over to have Val sign this. So, Michelle and I talked, and we both agreed that it was going to go to the second meeting of the month, and we are going to give them 10 days to either drop off the check here or have us go get the check. So that gives them time to get the check signed after the meeting. And if they can't make that deadline, they're either to let me or Donna know as soon as possible. And just waiting for Donna and Dino to sign off on that email, and then we'll put it in a Word document and have that. That was just done today, this afternoon.
Okay, technology plan.
Yes, so what I wanted to do tonight was I just wanted to hand out a hard copy in case people wanna write all over it. But this is actually going to be discussed at the next meeting. So Jeff will come to our next meeting to talk about this technology plan, but I wanted to give it to everybody in advance. And I didn't wanna send it through the email, cause I think as you go through that, if there's any things that you think, oh, I'd like to see this or that, you can write right on it, and then what we could do is we could actually give those to Jeff, and he could use the notes that are on there and make any adjustments or changes that he needed to, if you had any. So I think I've said one for you, always one for you. So I'll just give that out to you, and that will be on the agenda for our next meeting to talk about it.
I do appreciate you passing it out, but it's a lot easier to be able to read things ahead of time too. Seems like, be nice to have the backups in the agenda. We've talked about that for a lot too.
the backups for,
Or what?
Anything that's on the agenda should have a backup in the packet, so we know what it's in reference to, we get some kind of information, so we can digest it ahead of time in case we did have questions. I know it's gonna be on the next meeting, but
Yeah,
we
which is
have it anyways, if it was gonna be in the agenda that we could write on.
okay,
so, this is great, Donna, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, voting update. Yes.
It was just, I just wanted to make sure that everybody received their annual report, those did go out. We did have them placed around the town, earlier than expected, so it was really good. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the team at the SAU because we actually created these. So we did the binding, we did the photocopying, so it was all done in-house. And so it was, really nice to be able to get this done and get it out to all the places that needed to be. I did hear a lot of great feedback from people in the community saying it's nice to get a big size, we can actually read the numbers and we can read the stuff in there, so it was good to have that from the community. If anybody has any feedback or if there's anything that they think we should add to this, then, let us know and we can add that next year to make sure we have that in there. But I also wanted to thank the community and the board for their support with our budget and, you know, looking forward to great things.
Yeah, and I would also like to thank the town, you know, there's a lot going on, and, to be able to get our budgets passed was huge, so, you know, I appreciate, you know, everything that the town put forth and the trust to give us what we need in order to operate the school for another year, so, it's just it's fantastic to see that we, you know, we got our budget passed, so, anyway. All right, next we have the middle school forum. How'd that go?
It actually was very, very good. We had, you know, when you have an event like that, you don't know how many people are gonna show up, and usually, you know, you have a couple of people. We probably had about 30 to 40 people that actually showed up for the event. So it was very positive. It was more of a conversation, and we talked about the proposed changes that we would like to see in place. And we, you know, took some feedback from the community. It was nice to see, we had a large amount of the people that were there that were actually in support of the changes that we're looking to do. We had a few people that the time was an issue, but what we wanted to do with the scheduling, they were on board with that. And so we're still looking into that. We're gonna do another forum on April 2nd, but at this forum, we're hoping to gather more information and have more information available. I met with the Boys and Girls Club on one day this week, and it was wonderful because I had, who does the Boys and Girls Club?
Amy Blackman.
Amy, yes, I was gonna say Miss Blackwood, but I couldn't remember her first name. Amy walked around with me, she does the before school program currently. So it was absolutely amazing, the amount of knowledge that she had was wonderful. It was great to listen to her talk about all the things that they do in the morning with our students. And then to have the Boys and Girls Club be able to offer so much more, and to also offer scholarships and funding for families that may not make it because they can't afford to pay for it, right? Right now, we don't have any scholarships, so we don't have anything in place for families. But if the Boys and Girls Club does join, then we could, and their numbers were really high. It surprised me on how much money a family could make in order to receive a scholarship from the Boys and Girls Club. So it was really nice to see that. So we'll have that information available at that meeting as well. One of the things that was discussed was a survey going out to families. And so what I'll be doing is, within the next couple of days, I'm actually gonna generate a survey and I'm gonna send it out. But part of the survey, one of the issues that we always have with surveys, right, is that not a lot of people fill them out. So one of the things that, you know, we talked about is, in this survey, it's going to go out to our families, and then what I'm gonna say in there is, if you don't respond to this survey, then I'm going to take that as that you're in favor for the survey, right? Because we wanna hear from both people, so whether you're in favor or not, please fill out this survey, because we'd like to hear from you. A lot of times what happens is people that are in favor of something just say, well, I'm in favor of it, so I don't need to fill this out. So this way it says, if you're in favor of it, you don't have to fill it out, because we're going to take it as you're in favor of it. However, we'd still like to hear your feedback, whether or not you're in favor of it. So I'll be sending that out, so I'm hoping to be able to present those findings, again, at the April 7th meeting, April 2nd meeting, and then presenting everything to the board on April 7th, so that way the board knows what everybody thought.
So is that survey going to the staff also?
Well, they're part of they're part of our pool, so it would, but it's mostly for our families, because it would not impact any of our elementary students, it would impact our middle school staff, I'm sorry. But I've already had conversations with them.
So they're all in favor of that?
I would say that, I don't know if I would say all, but I would say a large majority of them. You know, we may need to make some adjustments, but I don't want to talk about those adjustments unless we know for sure what we're going to do. You know, there may be someone that says, well, I can't come in that early, but can I go to another position if I do that? And we have somebody that says, well, can I take that position, because I would love to come in early. So we have all this going on right now, so I don't wanna to say anything until we actually find out
Yeah,
if
no,
this is something that the
I'm-
families are in favor for, and then, you know, have those conversations with staff.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanna make sure that the staff agree to the surveys.
I think the spread that you saw represented in the parent forum is pretty indicative of how the middle school teachers are also. Everybody, when they were like, the things that we're looking at changing, they were all like, this all sounds awesome. And then you had a couple people who were like, I don't know about the time. So it's like we had like a handful of people who were unsure about the time, but then like in favor of the whole thing. That's how the middle school teachers took it too. They
Well,
were
I
all
guess
like, this all sounds great.
Right.
And then we had a very small subset of people being like, I don't know about the time.
That's fine, and those can be individual questions on the survey for the different things, but I don't wanna be presented with somebody's thoughts and feelings. I want somebody's thoughts and feelings by them presented to us. That's, you know, because sometimes people get lost in the shuffle.
Sure.
That's all.
Thank you very much, Donna, appreciate that. All right, so let's move on to policies. The first one is policy GBA, which is, we're rescinding this one.
Yes. We're rescinding it because at the bottom, we're adopting, EBBCA. So it used to be duly coded, now it is just an E policy. So I make a motion that we rescind GBA.
Did I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So then we have a first reading of policy JLDBB. Suicide first response. Yes, Heather.
So this one, it was recently adopted, and it is required by law, but a few changes have been made, a few sort of minor changes. Under B2, which is on page 51 at the top of page 51, we would say the school counselor, not the suicide prevention liaison. We'd actually name who the suicide prevention liaison is. And then in that letter E on 51, we have to put in different phone numbers than we have in there. And delete the legal references and other resources.
Perfect. All right, next, we have policy GBK-R, staff concerns and complaints, which is,
That is just an FYI, and I believe it stays the same except maybe formatted so that the A's and so that the numbers and then the letters stand out a little more. Unless I'm missing something along.
okay. Next, we have policy GCCA.
The policy committee's recommendation is to rescind this because we're required to do it. Like it's by law, there's no, there's, this New Hampshire School Board Association doesn't have this policy and it doesn't do anything for us.
Well,
So is it a first reading, or are we gonna rescind it?
well, it's a first reading, I mean,
Or we're gonna rescind it at,
we
I
can
mean,
rescind it if you want, if you feel like we're gonna just get it done, we can.
I mean, it's by law you said having it?
Yeah,
I make a motion that we rescind policy GCCA.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Next, we have policy KA slash IJO, school, family, and community partnerships.
So this is a required by law policy. Or is this-
Didn't see the New Hampshire School Board Association one.
Oh,
Page 61 is policy JK.
correct.
You say JK or K?
I mean, sorry, KA.
KA, so there, it remains duly coded, so I guess we just put in the KA instead of both.
Next, we have policy KCB, community involvement in decision making.
With that one, I would like to have the New Hampshire School Board Association one adopted. It's different than ours.
Perfect, so I think that was the policy committee's recommendation was to adopt the New Hampshire School Board Association
With the optional paragraph.
with the option.
I'm just gonna motion and do it now.
I make a motion to approve New Hampshire School Board Association's KCB policy with the optional paragraph.
Second?
A second.
This is the first reading on this?
Well, yeah, to swap it out, so it will come to the second reading.
Okay,
hopefully
to
with
adopt it
the-
as a second
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have policy KCD, public gifts to the school.
That's an old one.
Was my name on it?
Nope.
No?
The
Real old.
Yeah.
The committee recommends adopting the New Hampshire School Board Association as theirs reflects changes made in 2023 to RSA 198-20.
Okay, that's great. Next, we have policy KE, public complaints.
Can I make a motion to swap it out with the KE from New Hampshire School Board Association? It's got more
A
wording.
second.
I was gonna say, can I get a motion? Oh, she made a motion,
Yeah.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now, we go to policy KEB, public complaints about school personnel, employees, students, and administration.
Make a motion to approve the New Hampshire School Board Association policy for KEB as well. It's got more
Second.
wording.
All in favor on that one?
I
Okay. We do have a second reading tonight, that is policy oh wait, yeah, do we have to, yeah, I'm sorry,
Yep.
EBBCA. Can I get a motion to approve this policy?
I make a motion to approve policy EBBCA.
Any second, anybody?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, policies are done. Let's see, next we go to nominations, hires, resignations. Okay, retired. And Angelica Hogan, Olivia Gerlach, Alicia Hernandez, and Tony Adams.
We seem to be losing a lot of paras or ABA tutors, or is anybody wanting an exit interview?
Okay. Any questions, comments, anything like that? Nothing for follow-up. We have our second public comment, is this 6:34, is there anything out there? Anybody? Okay. With that said, can I get a motion to go into non-public, please?
I will make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A 3, 2C, A, and K.
All in favor? Roll call.
Will Conklin, aye?
All director, aye?
And that I
Telephone, aye.
We are in non-public, thank you.